Welcome to the Port Huron Statement. In our last episode, we discussed the core concept of compromise, or the blackmail economy, and how that influences exploitation of children. Today, we're going to get even closer to home. Today, we're going to talk about the parents, how they are victims themselves and are, in many cases, put into positions where they become the unwitting gatekeepers of the exploitation of their own children. This is the insidious engine that makes the whole system run. The first step is identifying a vulnerable parent. The most effective targets are often those in desperate situations, single mothers or fathers, individuals struggling with addiction, or those facing severe financial hardship. These are people that have been made vulnerable by a system intended to make them vulnerable. And when you're in that state, you're not scrutinizing the help that's offered, you're simply accepting it. Consider the parent struggling with addiction. They're siphoned into predatory, sober living homes, places that promise recovery but are often just assorted forms of exploitation. They encourage to work ever longer hours to cover exorbitant living fees, giving less time at home. And contrarily, they also will often force the people that live there to take classes during the week or in the middle of the day because they will get subsidized to offer these classes. Then it creates a situation where the person living the sober living home never really gets a job and never gets out of the sober living home. But these are both the same. They're both opposite sides of the same coin. It's a perfect storm. The parent is physically or financially or emotionally exhausted, and the child is left with more and more time in daycares, after-school programs, or church functions. Or contrarily, the parent is ever more disabled financially while occupied and preoccupied by the obligations set forth in order to continue the housing. These are places where a predator, often a trusted figure, can get unmonitored access. But the vulnerability isn't just economic. It can be found in the blinding ambition of a parent who sees their child as a means to an end. It can be a parent who is already compromised by compromat themselves. The child is simply another tool to ensure their silence or obedience. These children are lost in the shuffle of their parents' ambition, their jobs, and their desperation to climb the social ladder. They are sacrificed on the altar of their parents' perceived success. Then there are the parents caught in the snare of fanatical religion. These are individuals who would do anything to earn a spiritual gold star from a charismatic leader, completely ignoring their children's needs. They play right into the hands of church abusers, enabling the trafficking of their own children, believing they are offering a sacrifice for a higher purpose. The children are groomed to be submissive, to obey without question, and their parents' unwavering belief in their leader or the hierarchy of their church or just the commands of their church becomes the very mechanism of their child's exploitation. And what about the mothers who actively pimp the tween daughters? They don't see it as abuse. They frame it as an opportunity for their child to become wealthy and to have a better life. They offer their children to the wealthy individuals, and they are framed as being opportunities, when in fact it is exploitation. In reality, it's about the mother's own desire for power and status, often driven by jealousy, by greed, or perhaps by a vicarious and strange promiscuity latent within themselves. They use their children for their exclusive benefit, justifying their actions with a twisted logic that serves only themselves. It's a system of financial, psychological, and housing exploitation. The assistance that is offered, the job, the apartment, the community support, is not an act of charity, it's a transaction of leverage. The parent is now dependent on the people providing that assistance. They have no power in the relationship. This dependency is then used to control their behavior and their testimony. This leads to the most devastating question. Who are you going to believe? When a child comes forward with an accusation against a person the parent relies on, a pastor, an employee, an employer, or a landlord, the parent is trapped. Their mind is already primed to disbelieve the child. They know on some level that speaking out could mean losing their job, their home, or their entire support system. It may also cause tarnish to their ambitions, or it may cause reprisal that could jeopardize their ambitions. Their survival is linked to the predator's silence. The parent's life has been deliberately constructed to ensure their reaction is predictable before the test is even applied. This is the true horror of compromat. This is the true horror of child exploitation. It's not about just compromising one individual. It's about engineering their life so that they become a tool of exploitation of others. We'll explore this further in our next episode, which is part 4. It takes a village to traffic a child, where we'll unpack the vast network of complicity that makes these atrocities possible, because it does take a lot of people to be complicit in order to enable this type of thing to happen. Thank you.